Altitude mode is another great feature of the Twister Quattro X. This aids you in keeping a steady height in difficult conditions, in windy conditions or turbulence. It is great for filming. You can switch into altitude mode or once the quadcopter is hovering or flying. Switch SWB needs to be in position 1 and switch SWA needs to be in position 2. At any time you can switch out of this into different flight modes if you wish to. Altitude hold is a great mode to aid you in keeping at the one altitude height while you're flying. This can also be a bit of fun when you're flying too, because you can set up your Quattro X to fly close to the ground and it'll stay basically at the one height. Today we're going to talk about the GPS mode for the Twister Quattro X. The GPS mode is great for learners and also for budding photographers, as it holds the Twister Quattro X in one position using GPS satellites. But please note that you always have to take off in manual mode, but you can then switch directly into GPS mode once you're airborne. For GPS mode, you can switch into this mode from manual mode or even from return home. For GPS mode, the SWA switch needs to be in position 1. You'll also note in GPS mode, when the throttle stick is in the center, the transmitter will give out a beeping sound. This means that the quadcopter will stay at that height and with the help of the GPSs will hold that position. Of course you can climb and descend in GPS mode, but if you want to stay stationary at one height, one position, put the throttle stick in this position until the beeps are beeping. You might slightly adjust this just to adjust if you find the quadcopter is losing height slowly or gaining height slowly. You must always take off in manual mode. But for beginners, I strongly suggest that once you are airborne, that you click in to GPS hold mode. The Quattro X will just stay there. You can even land quite easily in GPS mode by just pulling off the throttle slowly, and once it gets to the ground, pull it totally off. GPS mode is a great mode for the beginners. You can simply take off a manual mode and then click into GPS hold mode once you're about a metre off the ground. At this time, take note of the throttle. When the throttle is in the centre, the transmitter will give out an audio beep. This is to help you to keep it at one height. You can also climb in GPS mode and descend. And on the way down, just move your throttle up until you get the beeping of the transmitter, and it'll lock in at that one height. You can also fly around in GPS mode, but you'll note that it'll fly a bit slower than it does in manual mode. It is also a great mode for holding your Quattro X in one position for videoing. You can also land in GPS mode. But remember, you must always take off your Quattro X in manual mode. One of the features of your Quattro X is a low battery warning. It emits a beeping sound, and the LED lights under the arms will flash to advise you your LiPo battery is getting low. You may find halfway through your flight, climbing under full power, that the Quattro X might emit a couple beeps and the LEDs might flash a couple times. But when you go into level flight or even into a hover, that it no longer beeps and the LEDs glow. This is just letting you know that your LiPo battery is starting to get low. But if you find that the Quattro X continuously beeps and the LEDs flash, this means you must land immediately. Failing to do so may cause the Quattro X to crash. Hi, today we're going to talk about binding your Quattro X and taking off in manual mode. But please make sure before you do any of these that you've calibrated your Quattro X. This is covered in a previous YouTube video. First, grab your flight battery pack, and with the transmitter turned off, slide your battery into your Quattro X, plug it in, then get your transmitter, and with your switches SWB and A, make sure they're pushed to the top and your throttle is down, and turn on your transmitter. This will emit a series of beeps telling you that it is powered up. Now while you're doing this, take note of the two LED lights at the back of the Quattro X. For if you're going to fly in GPS mode or return home mode or any of those modes, you must have required at least 6 GPS satellites. The green light will go solid once it has 6 satellites. Okay, you've bound your Quattro X to your transmitter and you're ready to take off in manual mode. First, make sure that your SWB switch and SWA switch is in a 0 position, and you've got your throttle down at the lowest position, and then you get your left hand gimbal and move the stick to the bottom right hand corner, taking note of the red flashing LED light on the back of the Quattro X. Once this red LED light goes solid, that means the motors are locked and you can now proceed to take off, slowly moving the throttle stick slowly up. Manual mode is a great mode for general flying and having some fun, especially if you've mastered flying a quadcopter or even a model helicopter before. You can really enjoy flying the Quattro X in this mode.